So we've mentioned a few times that I'm autistic.
He's just diving right in.
So this is that video.
Head first.
So this is that video. Get ready, get prepared, get pumped, and then get informed. So, I specifically have something called Asperger's syndrome, which is a type of high-functioning autism. Basically meaning that obviously I am not nonverbal, and I am able to operate in a way that allows me to do things and be functional. And I'm trying to pretend occasionally
to be normal.
Yeah, so for me specifically, it's my social skills are very, very manual. Like every social interaction that I basically have, I have these internal social scripts that, to the best of my understanding, other people just do automatically. Whereas I have to like go through a greeting extremely consciously. And so like for example, I'm constantly reminding myself that when people greet you with "how you doing," they're not actually asking me how I'm doing. It's just another way to say hello. But I'm always answering the question, and I'm usually answering the question thoroughly, like or in ways that it's just you go back in your video. It's like, no, they don't actually want to hear about how your day is going. They're just trying to be polite, and I never remind myself of that in time, but there it is. So there's that. So I am not amazing socially. I mean, I have friends, and I have people who don't hate me. I have people who like would be a little sad if I died. Be bummed.
Not me.
Yeah, not you. We already said you're not in this anymore. So let's see here. So yeah, so when I was younger, I was not like this. When I was younger, I was not able to regulate my emotions as well. I just didn't have the coping mechanisms to operate socially. Sometimes almost like at all. And there were some periods where I really didn't have any friends. And even now, it's still like I'm very big on, classic things with Asperger's specifically, that I'll have like one or two really narrow interests. And it's hard for me to care or pretend to care about what other people really enjoy when they're telling me about it, because of how much I don't care, because it's not those two overly specific interests that I have. And so that sometimes can create tension. I also have a heightened tactile sense, in that certain textures really, really bug me, and some are really, really nice. But also, it's very, very difficult for me to taste food when I eat it. I literally have to stop and think about it to try and figure out what something tastes like, unless there's something that's really, really overpowering. Because I feel my food when I taste it, and I didn't even realize that.
When you eat it, you mean?
Right.
Yeah.
That.
Sorry. So we go to Arby's, and he really wants a Jamocha shake. So if you guys aren't familiar, first of all, Jamocha shakes are particularly glorious, so try one if you haven't before. Secondly, they are chocolate and coffee flavor. So coffee flavor, basically. And so we go there, and he orders a Jamocha shake, and he's drinking it. He's got like half the shake gone. He's like, oh, this is so good. And I'm like, oh, can I have a drink? That looks really good. And I take a drink, and the shake was vanilla. It was a vanilla shake. And I open it up, and I look at it, and I'm like, Ryan, this is not a Jamocha shake. This is vanilla. But he didn't even taste the difference between Jamocha and vanilla. That's so different. I was just mind blown. It was really hilarious. So
it's things like that, and then I mean I have a couple things that I really enjoy, but mostly I enjoy soft foods or foods that feel a certain way as I'm eating them, and that's what I gravitate towards. Which is why I'm not a very picky eater. But croutons are evil, and anyone who asks you to eat a crouton is the devil. Just saying.
Himself, the devil himself.
Yeah. So let's see here. So yeah, before I got a hang on this, you know, it was I was not this functional. Calling this functional. But I was not this put together. I was not able to operate like all the time, and so my coping skills really only manifested in the last maybe half a dozen years or so. And before that, we had tried like different medications, and you know, and for a while, you know, I had half convinced myself that I had somehow cured myself of my autism, but that's just not true. And we'll get to that in a second. But I remember this one time, I was on this medication, and I forget what it was called. I could probably remember if I sat down with it. But the side effects were particularly interesting this day. And I just remember being like almost feverish, but I was like super, super dizzy. And then, okay, so normally your eyes will like capture images basically, and then your brain will sync that into one image. And today, that day, they did not sync up. And so I remember this as the split screen story. I was trying to do something. I think I was like playing a card game with the neighbor kids or something. And I was trying to look at it, but my two eyes were receiving their images and they weren't syncing up. So it was like split screen, and I found myself trying just instinctively to look at one side or the other, and it was just, and causing that to like trying to look at this image caused both my eyes to go here, and then I'd try and look back and they could both go here, and it was dizzying. It made me so dizzy. And it was a really...
It's so horrible.
Yeah, that was, so some of the, yeah, it was, so some people, medication at work's great. I was not one of those stories. So, that's basically where that was. And now I'm just kind of weird and goofy and...
That's really the only way it manifests itself now.
Yeah, I'm really strange. Like, in public, I cope pretty well.
People don't know.
Yeah, people don't know until I tell them. But
even like our friends sometimes like, what?
Yeah, and then, but then when I'm at home and we're just hanging out, I'll just do these weird things like I just unashamedly play pretend games like I'm 7 sometimes. Like, I'll pretend that gravity shifts over and I'll like pretend to hang on to the door frame to prevent myself from falling, or I'll make weird little noises that I'm just absentmindedly making and babble and things.
Yeah.
And apparently she's noticed it for a while, and I don't always. Anyway.
You're just goofy. I like it though.
Yeah. And,
he's looking at my notes.
I mean, I think that basically covers everything, unless there's something else you wanted to touch on.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't touch on the fact that it makes you super smart, which is like one of the benefits, I guess, if you can call it that.
Yeah.
He won't talk about it, so I have to talk about it, and that's why he says, if there's anything else you want to talk about...
You're the one who wanted to mention it!
He's not...
I'm
You're
not...
very humble.
I tried
But we've mentioned it before, actually, in the Ryan is a Genius vlog. It's like,
Oh, the
Ryan is
end,
a genius?
with the end card where I'm like, hey!
I'll link it down below in case you guys want to watch that. But his IQ is like super, super high.
If you believe in IQ tests, which the Stanford
Okay.
Binet is not necessarily something that I agree in or advocate, and basically if you believe in the Stanford Binet, then you don't believe in multiple intelligences, so you basically gotta pick one or the other. But if you believe in IQ, then mine is not really low.
It's like in the 95th percentile, right?
No, that was, well, it's somewhere above 95th percentile.
Oh, okay, above the 95th percentile.
Yeah, so like middle of the road is 100, and then like 2/3 of people are between 85 and 115, and then 95% of people are between 70 and 130. And so when they IQ tested me when I was 13, they didn't tell me my exact number. They just told me it was somewhere above 160. They said it was above base genius level, which they said was 140 to 160. So I'm just somewhere above that. And so if you're looking at that from the normal curve distribution thing with the bell curve, then every 15 points is a standard deviation. And so that places me 4 standard deviations above the mean, which is like 99, like more than 99.70th percentile. It's just up there somewhere, and I don't have the number. But she insists on bragging about it.
I do insist on you bragging about it. It was we'd been together like a while at this one point, and I was
she
like,
gets so mad.
I was like, Ryan, you know, you're really, really smart. I think we should, and like, because I knew he was autistic. Obviously, I've always known that, but like, he's like really intelligent. I'm like, you know, you should go get an IQ test. We should just, you know, see where you're at. And he was like, actually, I had one before. And I was like, oh, what did it say? And he's like, I'm a genius. And I was like, are you kidding me? And you never thought to mention that before? You never thought to be like, hey, Hannah, by the way, I'm totally a genius. No, he didn't tell me. He's just super, I keep forgetting that word, but you know what I mean. He's super humble about it, but he's nutso crazy smart. And
But I can be very dumb sometimes.
yeah.
Like, there's times where I just look at myself, I'm like, I'm the dumbest smart person I know.
But yeah, I mean, I guess something else that's just kind of interesting is like they say that like most autistic people will have like one thing that they really fixate on. Like if you ever watch what's that show?
Atypical?
Yeah, if you ever watch Atypical, it's on Netflix. Totally recommend it. Watch that show. That kid's like fixation is Antarctica and penguins specifically.
Right.
And for Ryan, it's definitely hockey. It's definitely hockey, and specifically like the Red Wings. He knows so much stuff about hockey. It's crazy.
I know a lot about hockey, and I love hockey, specifically goalies. I love goalies because goalies are cool, and their padding is awesome. Like, I have a set of goalie pads, and I just think goalies are so cool. And math is cool too. Not as cool as hockey. Just saying.
But yeah, that's basically it. I mean, I guess sometime we could maybe, if you guys...
Oh, also, eye contact is the devil. And whoever... No. Can we stop mandating eye contact in any sort of social interaction?
Prolonged eye contact. Prolonged eye contact. Prolonged eye contact. Prolonged eye contact. Go random reference. You guys gotta watch that guy.
I cannot stand eye contact. I hate it. No, stop it.
But you say it doesn't bother you with me.
Yeah. I remember I had this one coworker. His name was Kyle. And I mentioned one day how much I hate eye contact. He's like, oh, I know. You've had entire conversations with my chest. I'm like... Yeah, usually if I'm talking to you, I'm almost certainly not looking in I'm not looking you in the eye. I'll either like look at a particular part of your lip or like your nose, or I'll fixate on a tooth that I see every time that you are talking or something like that. I refuse to make eye contact. It's so uncomfortable. It's terrible. But again, one of my coping mechanisms is at least try to fixate somewhere on their face.
So that's it.
Yeah, we're doing this outro while watching Fiddler, just for the record.
Yeah.
So thanks for letting us get our lame on you. If we did get any on you, make sure to share with the nearest Sharon near you, and we'll see you next time on our Sometimes vlog.